You're listening to Pod Radio.
Hi everyone, welcome back to yet another exciting week. So, 2020 has been without a doubt the most challenging year ever. Like, guys, I can't stress it anymore. This year we had to evolve and adapt to so many ways, and we learned numerous lessons. For personally myself, I have. And to roll with the punches. When looking at 2020 in retrospect, despite all the COVID-19 doom and gloom, we've experienced some highlights too, no doubt. They were the goods and the bad. In this week's podcast, we are welcoming our new Pod Radio hosts for 2021, and they will share their personal top 3 highlights of this year. So guys, with the bad came the good. And yeah, we've had a challenging year, but they will speak about the top 3 highlights of this challenging year and what they've learned from it. So here we go. Please welcome our new host for 2021.
Hi guys, this is Amber Isaacs, and looking back on 2020, the 3 highlights that stood out for me are number 1, my baking skills. During the lockdown, I helped my mom bake cakes for her orders, and not only did my mom and I get a new hobby, but I got to work on my baking skills. On the 4th of September 2020, I gained enough confidence to bake my first big cake on my own, and I got so much compliments, and my mom loved her birthday cake. Number 2 is a sports-free year. Even though this affected me negatively, it encouraged me to work out at home. Number 3 is this unconventional school year. The most valuable lesson I've learned this year is that we don't have control over everything, especially everything that happened in 2020.
Hey guys, my name is Asanda Mkutyana and I'm in grade 10 A1. I know 2020, as they call it, has been a really hectic year for all of us, but I had some highlights. The first highlight for me has to be going to the gym. I'm a very lazy person, but surprisingly I really enjoyed going to the gym. The next highlight has to be online learning. If I had to choose between school and online learning, I would definitely choose online learning, and only because I get to do the work whenever I want. And as they always say, save the best for last, my birthday. My birthday was in lockdown, yes, but it didn't feel like that at all. All the love I got from my family and friends, they made me feel so special and loved, and that's why that was my best highlight. And through everything that has happened, the lesson I have learned is that no matter how hard the situation is or whatever you're facing, stay strong and keep pushing, and also stay positive, because that's the only way we can get through this. Thank you.
Yes, my name is Ruben Koopman and I am in 11E4. Yo, guys, I think you guys can agree with me that 2020 was a whole negative vibe year. Yes, I think you guys can agree. But we don't focus on the negative vibes. The only thing we focus on is the positivity. What I'm gonna tell you now is, guys, what stood out for me this year was COVID. That was the first thing, that was like in the first thing this whole year that I actually looked up to, and that was actually nice. COVID. Guys, there was mixed emotions. I cried, I laughed, and then I was confused. How do you even get confused? But anyways, there was mostly laughter, you understand, happiness, enthusiasm. People were excited. Our school was singing, they were dancing. The kids was running around on the track. People were jumping on mattresses over sticks. People were running with sticks, passing it to each other. People were throwing bricks, throwing sticks also in the air, you understand? But anyways, yes, that was a nice positive thing for this year. The second positive thing that stood out for me was It's a education, yes. Yeah, it was a tough year, but guys, I can tell you now, yo, that saying of hard work actually pays off. It actually does pay off. Like, I can tell you, I've been struggling with physics, right? But this year, I've been persistent. I've been telling myself, Ruben, motivate yourself, you're gonna do it. And then when I got my first term report, I was like, wow, you passed physics with nice, good looking marks. And I was like, you know what? That actually stood out for me. Like, hard work actually pays off. If you are determined, if you are motivated, you can get anything right. Like they say, impossible. Nothing is impossible because the word self says, I am possible. Yes. Thirdly, what stood out for me was friendship. Yo guys, I'm that guy that will actually meet you and be, after one meet, I'll tell you, no, you're my friend, you understand and stuff. And during this lockdown, I actually saw who was my actual friend, you understand? Because my friends, what I now take as my actual friends, they were social media. They got in hand with social media. They sent me photos on Facebook, on Instagram, on WhatsApp. Like that's how we had to communicate with each other. Send a WhatsApp message at night. Hi, how you doing? How was your day? You understand? That's actual friends. So what stood out for me was friends. Yes. But further on, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I am yours truly, Ruben Koopman.
Hi guys, I'm Rochelle Linda and in grade 11E5. Looking back on the year 2020, the three personal highlights that stood out for me was having to be the strong, independent young girl for myself and for my family, irrespective of the endless circumstances we as a family faced and the circumstances that I faced and what I went through that nobody knew about. Trust me, being strong is not always easy, but it is definitely the best thing to do. Spending more time with my family was also a highlight for me because the thought of possibly losing my family and living with regrets of not spending time with them was the worst feeling ever. Loving and accepting myself was the best highlight of my 2020, as it made me realize that I need to love and accept myself first, so that when others end up disappointing me, it would not change my opinion on how I view myself, which is extremely important. The most valuable lesson I have learned this year is to appreciate and be grateful for what you have, because you might not have it tomorrow.
Jordan here. So looking back on 2020, the three highlights that stood out for me firstly was that God, I could not go without God, no doubt. God is someone I had to run to each and every day. The second thing is that I've learned that I need to control my emotions, because I'm someone that can't necessarily just go with change, because change is not always something I can adapt with, but that's something I had to do. And the third most important thing that I've learned is that family is everything, because they can be here today and they can be gone tomorrow. But the most important and the most valuable lesson I was taught is that no matter what you go through, you have to run to God. No matter who is looking at you on the sides, no matter who is whatever is happening, you have to not worry about the world and you have to run to God, because He is the only thing that's going to carry you through. And literally, I had to learn that the hard way. I know, most people are going to be like, but it's God. But guys, if you really know the love that God has for you, you can run to Him whenever you are going through things. And not everyone can be there for you, because we tend to put trust in people, and those trusts can be broken or they disappoint you. But God never does, because He knows your life. He knows the plans He has for you. He said in His word. And what's nice is I could run to Him all the time through the good and the bad. So that is what stood out for me. And with everything that is going on, we always look at the bad things, what's happening, but we have to look at the good as well. And out of the bad comes the good. And I know this year, especially academically, it's also hard for a lot of us. But guys, if you put in the work, if you look to God, you cannot go wrong. So yeah, thank you.
Greetings, and you are listening to Klaar in October in grade 11 E5. Today I would just like to share a bit of my 2020. That's if you don't mind. The first highlight would be I started reading more books, being more helpful, do things where I can. If I can help, I will be there, being proactive, like habit number 1, if you know. The second highlight would be building a better relationship between myself and my parents, and I must say it has actually made the world's difference. The third highlight, and the one that I love the most, is that I made it official finally with the girl that I've been liking for 4 years, and today I am the luckiest guy in the world. She makes me happy. But last but not least, the most valuable thing that I've learned for 2020 is that family remains family, and at the end of the day, family is everything. They will always be there for you and always care for you. So I want to tell you today is, no matter what, make sure that you are always on the right and good terms with your family. Thank you so much.
Molweni, goeiedag, good day. I'm Carl Stigling and I'm grade 11 E1. Looking back on 2020, the 3 highlights that I had are: number 1, learning a new language, the German language, which I thought was going to be easy because of its pronunciation that isn't too far from the Afrikaans language. Well, I was wrong. It turned out to be a bit difficult, but also fun, because I had an awesome tutor which happened to be Fiona Niekelhuizen, an exchange student from Germany in 2019. So I adapted to learning a few words and a sentence, such as Ich liebe es wenn du lachst, which means I love it when you smile. Number 2, online learning. Online learning was quite challenging but very educational. It helped me receive the work by my teachers and handing it on a due date. Therefore, I was notified about work and it kept me busy. Number 3, keeping fit. I believe working on your body is working on your health. I woke up every morning doing workouts in the evenings and in the mornings to keep fit. I went hiking, jogging, for walks, and just being in nature. The most valuable lesson that I've learned in 2020 is never let your comfort zone ruin your future. Starve your distractions, feed your focus. Thank you.
Good day, my fellow Hatties. My name is Kuluma Ngafiki Zolo and I am in grade 10 E1. Looking back on 2020, the 3 highlights that stood out for me would most definitely be: number 1, the COVID. Now that was amazing. It was lovely. It's memorable, okay? Number 2, my time management skills. During this lockdown, we've had to do work by ourselves, and just knowing what subject to do at what time and for how long, dude, I've developed my time management skills. Number 3, my relationship skills that I've also developed over this lockdown. Since we couldn't see each other, like social media was the thing. Just reaching out to one another through WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, and checking up on each other really built and grew relationships. A lesson that I've learned this year would be that you don't always get what you want. No matter how carefully you plan and how hard you work, sometimes things just don't work out the way you want them to be. And that's okay.
Greetings. This is Janus Terweg in the class 11A1 with my first podcast of 2020. Looking back on 2020, the 3 highlights for me are the online learning. Not all of us have internet, but the few who have used Moodle or, like my sister, Zoom for studying. The rest, well, they had to sit in front of their books the old-fashioned way. Secondly, the quality time with the family and homies. Nothing feels better than connecting with family via a game. like Monopoly, chess, or even Call of Duty for the action lovers. A third highlight, soon to be, is my sister's wedding on the 17th of December. The joining of two families, dancing, and don't forget the braai and cake. The most valuable lesson I have learned during 2020 was that the most people change. You could be there for the ones who have survived, by the ones they have lost, and see a better personal side of their point of view in life.
And that's a wrap, guys. I hope you've enjoyed our podcast on highlights of 2020 and that 2020 also had some highlights for you. Tune in again next week for our second last podcast this year, where we'll be sharing some general exam tips on do's and don'ts for our final exams.